unfortunately, our guy, friend of the pod, Tayler Saucedo, is hitting the IL. He had a pretty scary play in Tuesday's game in relief against the Twins. There was a foot race to the bag where him and Austin Martin were both trying to get there. Sauce, it looked like, stepped on the bag funny, ended up falling to the ground. He had to be helped off the field. And from what it sounds like, he's got a hyperextended knee. Now, in terms of what it could have been, this seems like about best case scenario for Sauce. It looked like it could have been a lot worse. So the timeline right now is, from what we understand, about 4 weeks, which it's unfortunate he's going to miss time. You hate to see injuries, especially to somebody that we love, this entire fan base loves, but he did dodge a little bit of a bullet.
Thankfully, yeah. I mean, you looked at him and how he fell down. So nothing twisted. So you instantly think, oh, tear. And tears are bad. But sounds like he'll be fine, and that'll be back. And that's the most important thing. The question is, how do you replace Tayler Saucedo? So he wasn't, like, he's on the roster as more of a lefty specialist, but he's gotten both lefties and righties out this year. He's been really good at that. He struck out lefties at a little bit of a higher rate, but overall, a lot of success against both. He's pitched in every inning, 4th through 10th. That's versatility right there. The ability to come in leverage situations, mop-up duty, long relief, just a high-leverage inning of his own. He's really done it all. So the question you answer now is, do you want another lefty specifically in that bullpen, or do you want someone who will occupy the Saucedo role? Because I think those are two different things at this moment. Like the options in the minors right now, Kirby Sneady's been good. He's already pitched for the Mariners. Congrats, Kirby, Mariner number 1,000. Eduardo Bizzardo, he's also on the roster right now.
Oh, wait,
he is
Edward Bizzardo.
Oh, sorry. Edward Bizzardo on the roster through the M's right last year, who's good, having a good season down in Tacoma right now. Small sample last year, he was better against lefties than righties. Carlos Vargas is not, and he's not going to be a replacement. Go look at his numbers in AAA. He's not going to be replacing Tayler Saucedo. His strikeout numbers are down. His walk rate is up. He's working through some things down there. And then Jonathan Diaz is the other one in Tacoma. He's also been really good, though he's been starting. So the Mariners would bring him up to relieve instead of start at the big league level. So I don't know if any of those names jump out to you, but that's sort of the conundrum the Mariners are faced with right now. And also the fact that they're losing another person they trust in leverage situations. A bullpen that is in dire need of leverage relievers. The injury bug has gotten them in that department.
Right now, it feels like they have about 3. Munoz, of course, Gabe Spire, of course, and Trent Thornton. Ryan Stanek will throw in high leverage. He is not at his best form yet. He hasn't quite pitched that way yet. Obviously, you're banking on that he can get there. He has the track record and the stuff, absolutely, to get there. But you do need some more guys behind him. 100% you do. Now, in reality, if it's going to be about 4 weeks for Saucedo, that's not that many innings you have to throw. Sauce would throw about, what, twice a week when he was healthy?
Yeah.
So if it's going to be 4 weeks, roughly, we'll call it 8 appearances. You've got to find somebody for 8 appearances. If it can be Snead, if it can be one of the other guys you outlined, Sammy Peralta is another left-handed reliever that's on the 40-man. Maybe he's an option at some point too until Sauce gets back. Somebody can fill those innings, you'd hope, in the few appearances that will have to be made until Tayler Saucedo's back. So you can look at this 2 ways. You can look at it as you don't have to fill that many innings since he's not going to miss a ton of time. But those innings are still very important. Sauce played a crucial role in what the Mariners do in the bullpen and does play a crucial role. So you have to find somebody that you trust that can get those outs. Whether it's a lefty or righty, you've got to find somebody that you can rely on to come in and get these outs and has the comfortability to pitch in a bunch of different situations.
I'm glad you highlighted it that way because I wanted to make it a point. It does not need to be a lefty. Just because Saucedo's a lefty doesn't mean you need to replace him with a lefty. If it's a righty, you just need to get lefties out. There are righties who are really, really, really good at getting lefties out. And that's really all it boils down to. I think for so long, baseball was infatuated with the lefty specialist, and then you trot out someone like Mark Zepchinski who doesn't get anyone out, and it's like, well, what's the point of a lefty specialist if he can't even get lefties out? And then you're essentially wasting a roster spot for someone who gets one out. So all these guys have to be so good now to get both lefties and righties out, because it doesn't achieve. I know you're smiling. I had to get that in there. We touched on Abe earlier. We had to get to Scrabble at some point as well.
And people wonder why our blood's boiling on this podcast. Mariners lose 3 of 4, didn't score a ton of runs, paired with it is super hot in my room recording this. TJ, we're bringing up old flames and Abe Toro and Mark Zipchinski, who to fill people in, along with Abe, another Mariner TJ could not stand watching back in 2017 was Scrabble himself. So it's all coming back.
Don't pretend like you liked him either.
He went the first month or so without giving up a run.
Yeah, what, in 3 innings?
I think it was a little more.
Oh, yeah, for his 2 batters a week he got.
Right. Yeah, Eric Swanson was a stud in 2022, and he had reverse splits. There's a perfect example of a guy that is a right-handed pitcher but gets lefties out. So there, you can find a guy that has reverse splits and is a right-handed pitcher that can get left-handed bats out. So whether it's a lefty or a righty, the Mariners roll with long-term in Sauce's absence, we will see. But they do need to find somebody they can rely on. Now, as a result, we've seen guys like Tyson Miller and Cody Bolton throw in a little bit higher leverage over the past couple of days because of all the injuries in the bullpen. Other guys have been bumped up. Miller and Bolton, until this past couple games, had been pretty good. Now, they hadn't thrown in a lot of high leverage, but they've been pretty solid. Unfortunately, both of them have had their issues the last couple of days and gave up their share of runs. So I'm sure they'll get more chances because they're going to have to here in the next couple of weeks. But it's going to be TBD if those are guys you truly rely on or not, or if you try other options.
And I thought Tuesday was the perfect example of where they're at. Like Tyson Miller's pitching with a 2-run lead in the 7th. I know that's not how this bullpen is built, and that's not who Tyson is. Well, he hasn't proven that's the kind of spot he's in, and he came in and gave up a run, and it got closer and closer and closer. Or wait, no, did he give up? No, he gave up. Yeah, no, did he give up the lead in the 7th? No,
I think so.
Yeah.
No?
Well, regardless, the game did get tied before they scored 4 in the 9th inning and took the lead. Regardless, he coughed up runs in that inning, and that's because they had to squelch out a fire earlier in the game with Gabe Spire, who had to come in all the way in the 5th.
Right.
And right now, there are not the horses in the bullpen to cover all the leverage situations you need.
And it was a blowout today, sure, but Miller did give up another couple of runs in relief today. Only one was earned. He gave up a bomb to Max Kepler, but they're going to have to keep rolling with him. He has shown flashes of being very good. Again, they compare him a lot between his delivery and his stuff to that of Paul Sewald. Now, Miller's ERA after today still only sits at 3.09, so that may be a guy where they continue to give him chances because they need somebody to step up in high leverage. But yes, the bullpen, which was supposed to be one of the Mariners' best strengths, is not at full strength right now. You don't have Sauce. You don't have Brash. You don't have Gregory Santos. Stanek isn't throwing like the Stanek we're often used to. It's been a little bit of a puzzle they've had to put together, and they're going to have to keep piecing it together in Sauce's absence for the next few weeks.
And that's why the deadline it's going to be important, and reliever looks more and more and more like a position they're going to target when we get down the stretch. Kyle Tucker aside, reliever is a necessity no matter what.